Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler. This time we continue looking at something we began looking at last time, which may not be for everybody who collects Star Wars stuff, and that is a couple of Sesame Street DVD releases, stay with me here, that include Star Wars content. C-3PO and R2-D2 made some guest spots on episodes of Sesame Street. They were on a couple of episodes for pretty much the entirety of the episodes, but then they also had these little clips probably recorded at the same time, where they show up in other episodes. And two of those clips from other episodes have shown up in physical media releases of Sesame Street over the years. We first had that 40 Years of Sunny Days from 2009 that was noted in the last episode. And now from 2012, we have another Star Wars clip found within this release. This is Sesame Street Old School. This is volume 3, which covers 1979, the year I was born, through 1984. So we'll get to the Star Wars content in a second. So we got the main characters, different clips there. Okay, very clear and concise information there, I would assume. Looks very 70s, 80s with the color scheme and all. The spine has Cookie Monster. Then Sesame Street Old School, dates, volume 3. Then product number, DVD, and Warner Brothers Home Video. Very small there, it does say full screen, but again, like I said last time, duh, given when this was being made. Nothing on top, nothing on bottom. And the back, Sesame Street Old School, 1979 to 1984, information about it, some special feature information that we'll take a look at. On the bottom, you get your legalese and everything. It is an actual release from Warner Home Video, whereas the last one was from Genius Entertainment that we saw. This is from 2012 here. If you look at the back, it does say 5 classic episodes, plus a jam-packed 110 minutes of bonus material and extra clips. Special features. Never before seen behind-the-scenes footage. Sesame Street's most beloved and requested clip, Goodbye, Mr. Hooper. Almost want to cry already. Exclusive interview with Carol Spinney, Big Bird, and Oscar the Grouch. A special on-screen storybook of Oscar's How to Be a Grouch with a sneak peek at Carol performing Oscar. Audio commentary on the Puerto Rico episode by Sonia Manzano. And then bonus booklet bursting with extra info and special cast memories. Okay. So it is a slipcover over a cardboard inside that does have a plastic bit to actually hold the discs. So essentially the same there. Essentially the same there. Images on the back. Open it. You have a little thing over here that says Sesame Street Old School and has the dates, but not the volume 3 with your booklet in it, with art that matches the booklet underneath, so you can kind of see the same thing either way. Then your discs are being held over here on that side in a couple of little trays with the little prongs, as is typical. Okay. You've got an image up here of different members of the team. Disc 1, really big, Sesame Street Old School, Volume 3. The Warner Home Video logo, Region 1, Dolby Digital DVD, runtime, legalese along the edges. And then a similar setup for Disc 2, just with a different group picture to go with it, and of course the 2 swapped out for the 1 over there. And there is nothing underneath it except a little bit of legalese stuff down at the bottom. The booklet here, kind of neat. Not like the big, thick book that we saw in the previous one, the 40 Years release. But it's got, like, little bits and tidbits about it. Pictures behind the scenes and all. That kind of fun stuff there. And it does give you information about what is on each disc. Breaking down into the different shows. It says like Season 11, Show 1316, Season 12, Show 1446, and so on. And then extras there in the back as well. So just fun little stuff there. Got some interview with Telly Monster there on the back. But for Star Wars fans, there is something on here that is kind of an interesting thing. That is one of those guest appearances for C-3PO and R2-D2. And it is found on Disc 1. And what's odd is that, again, there seems to be some differences in where people are saying these are from, because according to this, I believe, the clip that is on here is from episode 1403, which is found in the bonus material for Season 11. that would have aired March 26th of 1980. Whereas there's a point at which, in I think it's the Muppet Wiki, that says that it would be in episode 316 on November 26, 1979, which I believe is the premiere of season 11, which is what's on here. Doesn't really matter. I'm not an aficionado in that stuff, but I wonder if someone could explain to me why there seem to be differences in episode numbers and dates and what the content is between the Muppet Wiki and what is on some of these official releases. But in any event, you go here, you go to your stuff for, season 11 and into the bonus and whatnot, and you will find I Say Banana. Sounds way more dramatic than it is when I say it like that, right? I Say Banana. It is R2-D2 there with Big Bird. And they're kind of having a conversation, sort of. But of course, R2 doesn't speak English. And that's effectively the point. I Say Banana is all about the idea that we can still be friends, we can still make a connection, so to speak, despite the language barrier. I say one word for this, you say something else, and you know what? That is fine, essentially. I say banana, you say beep, 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 or whatever, as the song goes along. It's really sort of this, and I think it captures, oddly enough, it captures Star Wars really well. I don't know that the whole, one you go beep thing captures Star Wars well, except in the stuff in that last episode, the stuff where C-3PO and R2-D2 are interacting with Big Bird there and kind of have their dynamic going. Here, there's not much of that kind of dynamic here because it's just Big Bird and R2-D2. C-3PO's not actually in it. I'm assuming it was recorded when they did the guest spot with them for a couple of episodes. But thematically, it fits Star Wars in the sense that Star Wars has had that level of diversity, of different cultures, of different languages, of different species, all having to interact in a galaxy far, far away and make that work. So to have it be R2-D2 here with his beeps, sort of representing that idea of someone who's not saying something in English, and how that, in the song with Big Bird, comes across as, we can still be friends, we just say stuff differently, it's okay, I think works really well, and fits within sort of the theme of that. I kind of feel like this whole thing with the Sesame Street Star Wars stuff, it must have brought a smile to George Lucas's face to get the offer to be able to do something like this, because we know he said he made Star Wars in a lot of ways for children. And eventually he would have children of his own who would become a big focus of his life, to the point where he's basically left film for a long time for them. And then some of them, like Katie Lucas, now being part of Star Wars history themselves. I've always felt as though, and I've said before that even when he got like his AFI Life Achievement Award, and he had Maroon 5 be the musical guest, not because he wanted them to celebrate him as musical guest, but because his kids wanted them. I've always felt that that kind of thing really shone well on Lucas, and I think this is an early example of Lucas kind of having that same mindset of doing something for children. Maybe not. Maybe I'm full of crap. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I do think it's kind of fun that we see Star Wars characters represented on Sesame Street. And with all the episodes of Sesame Street that are out there that just have no home media physical release at all because there's just so damn many of them. Yes, I just cussed in an episode about kid stuff. Oops. I do think that it's cool that at least a little bit of the Star Wars content from Sesame Street did make it to home video. Whether we're talking about Old School Volume 3, which does have a trailer for Volumes 1 and 2 at the beginning, or that 40 Years of Sunny Days that we just saw. They are short clips, very, very tiny compared to the content of the full releases here. Probably not necessarily going to be for everybody, but if you like that sort of thing and want to have something oddball in your Star Wars home video library, you could do worse than finding yourself these Star Wars clips from Sesame Street. I only wish the full episodes were available, and maybe they will be someday if they aren't already. I haven't heard of them being available, but I'm not an aficionado of Sesame Street by any means, though I sure loved it as a kid and hope my son will be getting into it soon. My thanks, by the way, to Parker, who brought this and the previous episode Sesame Street item to my attention. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers, no matter what language you would normally say that phrase in.